Hey everybody, this is Rob, the Generation X gamer, with my impressions on the first look of the Nintendo Switch. And when Nintendo makes news regarding a new console, it instantly brings me back to the day I got my first NES. My favorite game at the time was Kung Fu, and I couldn't wait to open it up and play it in my room. The nostalgia associated with Nintendo is something I will always have, and when there is news like this, I'm instantly excited. Nintendo released the first look video on Thursday after many rumors and speculation as to what their new console, previously codenamed the NX, will feature. Now, going back to 2015, late Nintendo CEO Satoru Iwata revealed the NX's existence at a March press conference. Iwata described the project as a dedicated game platform with a brand new concept. The new concept is combining a home console with portable gaming. Since the debut of the video, many details have been released, and I will highlight them as I provide my analysis. As we can see from the video, the player is playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a game which will be released for the Wii U and the Switch. The console comes with two controllers called Joy-Con controllers that are attached to what Nintendo calls the Joy-Con grip accessory, which is meant to mirror a more traditional controller. You can slide the controllers on and off the grip accessory and onto the console to use as a portable. We now see the gamer slide the controllers onto the console and take it off the dock, where the console instantly transitions to portable mode and you can take the game with them on the go. Here we see Nintendo's theme of taking the console with you wherever you need to go. In this case, he takes his console with him while he takes his dog outside for a walk and never missing a beat. In this sequence, we see something very interesting. The player slides what looks like a 3DS cartridge into the console. Does this mean that all games will be cartridge-based? I'll get to that later in this video. And now we see that the controls can be taken off the console and used in either hand, a la the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. We also see the screen held up with a kickstand, which is very cool. And as he arrives at home, he docks the console with the dock and picks up a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which is another available accessory. Here, it looks as if the player is playing Elder Scrolls, and the graphics look pretty good. Next, we see the multiplayer capabilities of the Switch. Here we see two Joy-Con controllers being used by two players playing a game of Mario Kart. And this is great, another good game to see possibly available at launch. But is it me, or do the controls look really small in their hands? In this scene, we see players with two Switch consoles playing a 2 vs 2 local multiplayer, which shows how you can use more than one console to play a multiplayer game. However, I doubt guys playing a pickup game will stop to break out a Switch and play. In this scene, we see the new unnamed Mario game, and I'm so stoked to see this. I absolutely love the Mario Galaxy games, and was really disappointed Nintendo didn't bring them to the Wii U. The woman takes the console to her friend's rooftop party and shares the Joy-Con controllers to play a game with her friends. Again, Nintendo is emphasizing playing in multiplayer games in person rather than online. This is a theme they're pushing hard here, the on-the-couch or in-person multiplayer experience of the old days. In the next scenes, we see multiple Switch consoles used in tandem for a larger in-person multiplayer experience. Now that we've seen the video, it raises many questions. The first of which, is the dock the main console? Nintendo confirmed to IGN that the dock is not the main console unit. This means the dock facilitates the connection to your TV and charges the console. Now, speaking of charging, what is the battery life of the console while in portable mode? The screen is really large, and if the resolution is 1080p, it could drain the battery very quickly. Now, one theory out there is that when the console is docked, it can output at 1080p, but when in portable mode, downgrade to 720p to save the battery. Now, speaking of batteries, do the Joy-Con controllers require batteries like the Wii Remote, or do they charge while connected to the console? Do the Joy-Con controllers also have motion capability? Again, all questions not easily interpreted from the video. Next, is the screen a touch screen? This is a very popular question out there, and from the video, we get no indication that it is. However, Nintendo hasn't said no either. Now, how powerful will the console be? Rumor has it that it will be more powerful than the PS3 and Xbox 360, but behind the PS4 and the Xbox One, similar to how the Wii was not as powerful as the PS3 or Xbox 360, but more powerful than a PS2 and an Xbox. We do know that the console will run the NVIDIA Tegra processor, but that's all we know to this point. Next, how heavy is it? The video only shows young adults using the system. And Nintendo will want kids who use a 3DS to buy this as well. So you can imagine kids dropping the console and ruining it. Well, now will it have a bumper accessory? And I'm sure there'll be lots of cases to try to transport the console. Back to an earlier question, will games be cartridge-based? The early rumors were that the games would be downloadable only and there wouldn't be any physical discs. The rumor turned out to be true as the system does not play any discs. And as we saw earlier, the gamer inserted a cartridge into the Switch. Nintendo calls the cartridge the game card. The game card could very well be a flash memory card in a cartridge shell or a new type of cartridge. There isn't any other information available at the game card, so we'll have to wait to learn more. However, Ars Technica wrote a story back in May that it's actually a good idea Nintendo is switching from discs to cartridges, and I've linked the story in the description. To summarize, they say it's forward-thinking by Nintendo and that obstacle discs are on the way out. Since Nintendo offered full games downloadable on the Wii U, I also see them doing the same with the Nintendo Switch. What about games from the Virtual Console? The prevailing theory is that we will be able to, but Nintendo has to fix one major problem. I bought a bunch of games from the Virtual Console on my Wii, and then with the launch of the Wii U, I had to buy them again if I wanted to play them on the Wii U. Nintendo has to find a way for us to be able to download our previously purchased games and play them on the new console. Will there be support from third-party developers? Now here's a list of third-party developers already signed on for the Switch. We see some major companies such as Activision, Bethesda, Capcom, EA, Konami, Square Enix, Take-Two, and Ubisoft. However, the Wii U started off this way too, and we saw how the third-party developers quickly ran away. Does the console come with the Joy-Con grip accessory? No details have been released yet. Now, Nintendo calls it an accessory, but I really do hope it's included. When will we get more information about the console? Takashi Mochizuki tweeted that Nintendo said there will be no official announcement of game titles or spec details this year. So that means we're waiting until next year for any type of new news regarding the console. A few more things to consider. Nintendo did not release any information about the price of the console and what storage capacity it will have. The Wii U at launch was $349 for a deluxe version and $299 for the basic. I would expect the price to be around the same for the Switch if they launch more than one version and have higher prices for any bundles. Being that the system uses game cards, we are not loading games onto a hard drive or flash-based drive. But since I feel we can download full games from the Nintendo Store, there has to be more storage capacity than the Wii U's 32GB deluxe version. Since the release of the first look, Nintendo's stock has dropped by 6.5%, with investors feeling unsure about its appeal. The console will be released in March of 2017, so Nintendo has time to release more information and get more people excited about the Switch. What's my take on the Switch? The last good console Nintendo released was the N64, which was 20 years ago. The Wii was fun to use, catered to the casual gamer, and caused a frenzy at launch. I remember this because I waited in line in the early morning of Black Friday in 2006 to snag one. But the console lost third-party support and lagged behind the PS3 and Xbox 360, which were rendering games in HD, whereas the Wii output at a max of only 480p. The Wii U was even worse. It did output in HD, but the gamepad just seemed like Nintendo didn't know what else to do with it other than use it as a second screen, and third-party developers abandoned it quickly. I haven't used my Wii U in years. Nintendo has a lot to prove, and being that most households already have either a PS4 or Xbox One, this new system has to compete in a way so it won't lose its appeal. Nintendo's practice hasn't been about keeping up with Sony and Microsoft. Now, new gimmicks are fun at first, but will get old fast, and Nintendo has to do a lot more than just offer new ways to play games. The Wii did this by ushering in motion gameplay. It was the big thing at the time, and it forced Sony and Microsoft to build their own versions with the PlayStation Move and to connect with the Xbox 360, but we saw how that died down. Now, I love Mario and Zelda games, and my favorite versions were released on the Wii, but I'm just afraid that Nintendo will be that niche console for the games I cannot play on my PS4. Let's see if they can prove us wrong. Please like and leave a comment below if you have any theories or questions about the console. I will post more videos about the Switch as more news comes in. And don't forget, the NES Classic Edition will be available starting November 11th. Generation X Gamer out.